Imagery. Imagery. How important is imagery? It's not something that we always think about, but maybe we should. It's definitely something that is a hot button topic right now. So let's talk about it a little bit. The importance of imagery. Let's get into it. Urban Therapy with Sun752 with this your daily. Go get 'em is the number 1K56. I said the 1K56 for August 20th, 2017. All right, so let's talk about imagery for a minute. Right now in the United States, for example, down there in Charlottesville, Virginia, and all over the South, they're trying to tear down monuments, statues of like Robert E. Lee. And y'all know who Robert E. Lee was. General Robert E. Lee. He fought on the side of the South in the Civil War. Fought hard. Fought to keep slavery in effect forever. Dixie. The way of life down there in the South. He fought for that, and many people are trying to tear down statues of him, images of him. And we have to ask ourselves, all right, so what if they tear the statues down? It's not going to get rid of racism. It's not going to stop anything. It may even fuel racism more, because people are going to be mad that their statues have been taken down. But we have to ask ourselves, why is it important for us to even leave the statues up or to take the statues down? What does it mean? What difference does it make when you know that that's not going to either stop racism or promote racism? Well, when you take down the images of people's heroes, then you have to give an explanation of how come those statues were once important and why they were standing and why they're not anymore. And once you start giving an explanation of how come you had to take down the statues, or why it's important to have the statues taken down, then you really get a little historical lesson and a moral lesson. And then you have to start thinking about how come we should or shouldn't have monuments and statues and images, even pictures, murals, all kinds of things, why we shouldn't have those things. If white people start taking down their images that their young people will feel proud of and empowered by, then they know that they're in big trouble. See, normally when a person gets in trouble, a person that has been immortalized through busts or through murals or through statues, monuments, things like that, when people are led astray or they commit crimes, heinous crimes, they take those statues down. They take them down because they want to dishonor the dishonorable. That's really what it's about. They want to make sure that they take down the images of those who have dishonored this country. So when you have the pictures or the statues of known racists, lifelong racists like Robert E. Lee, who represented slavery in the South and fought on the side of the South, they weren't actually fighting over slavery. But since many of our viewers don't know that, we'll just keep that. Let's just put it this way. Find out the real reason that the Civil War was fought. And you'll find out that it definitely wasn't about freeing any slaves. We were just a byproduct. Just a byproduct. The South wanted to have their own country. Their own country, their own money, their own way of life, their own laws, their own rules. And Abraham Lincoln wanted to unify the country. And in order to unify the country, he didn't want to end slavery. He had no interest in ending slavery. That's one thing you should understand. Abraham Lincoln had no interest in ending slavery, but he knew that he was going to need those slaves to fight on the side of the North, or they would not have beat the South, because the South were better fighters. They were just better warriors, better soldiers. They were better, far superior than the ones up north. So they offered slaves their freedom if they would fight on the side of the North. The same way that the British promised freedom from slavery if you fought on the side of the British in the Revolutionary War. But see, when you start taking down monuments, you start making people who were supposedly were supposed to have done good things, good deeds, you start making them look bad. Like when Joe Pa, although he didn't commit any crime, but because he didn't rat out his friend, which he probably should have, or done something to that effect. But when he didn't rat out his friend because his friend was helping him win games, down comes the statues and images of Joe Pa. So doesn't matter what you did for them for the last 50 years. You didn't tell on them, and so we have to take down your monuments, your pictures, your statues and all of that. We have to act like we forgot you. But they're putting those statues and pictures and all that stuff right back. They just had to let it bowl over a little bit. They had to let it pass over. And now nobody really cares if he has a statue of himself or not. But a lot of people would rather him not have had a statue. Same thing with Bill Cosby. They stopped. TV Land wouldn't play his reruns anymore. Jello commercials, you didn't see him on Jello commercials. No pudding, no Jello, nothing. See, it was messing up his money. And they took down his images. Now he was only accused of things. He was never convicted, but they took down his images because they know that the images put something in your mind. They put something in the optic. They know that if you see images, positive images of somebody who has done bad, then you're going to start thinking that they wasn't all that bad. Like if they were really bad, they wouldn't have this statue. They wouldn't have this mural. They wouldn't have this monument. They wouldn't have this bust. So they know how important imagery is. And just like Donald Trump said, and no, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form, but just like Donald Trump said, if you want to take down a statue of Robert E. Lee, then who's next? You need to take down a statue of Washington, George Washington, because he owned slaves. You need to take down the statues of a whole lot of presidents, especially the ones from the 1700s and 1800s, because they were all into it with the slavery thing. So Donald Trump gets it. He knows once you start taking down, or started really investigating what happened with these so-called leaders, and once you stop supporting them, and once you start taking their memories down, the memory of their images down, then you know you start to diffuse them, because then the questions don't get asked anymore about how come those people aren't being praised anymore, or appreciated anymore, or being followed anymore. When you take away, like, it's the ultimate sign of disrespect, basically. So Jefferson and Washington, they own slaves. If you want to judge somebody on that criteria, everybody gotta go. So what's it gonna be? Huh? Imagery. Imagery is important. So not everybody understands the power of imagery, but we all need to recognize the power of imagery, because it is very, very powerful. If you can have images of black people doing great things with other black people, after a while people will start to see like, oh yeah, these black people okay. They starting to do good. It may only be like a few hundred black people, but that's good enough because they can see it. So once you take down the images of that, once you destroy those images, something else happens because it makes you switch sides because you figure that person did it and I didn't know that they were doing it. But then that's just how those kinds of people are. Imagery is very important. Very, very important. That's why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's probably worth 1,000,000. Especially when it resonates to you. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. I say that anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, yeah, imagery is important. It is. It may not be as important as we place our value system on, but you notice when one of our heroes gets their monuments taken down, their images getting taken down, we don't like that. We don't like that. So let's fight to keep those images of our good people. All right? The Daily Go Getimism show is every single day. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call in number 319-527-6199. blogtalkradio.com/Sun752. Peace.